Thank you. Everybody, let's get started. Thank you for coming to tonight's meeting. First on the agenda is a vote to approve the minutes of May 22nd, 2023. There's a couple of corrections on here that I want to go over. The first obviously, yeah, the first one is wrong. It's the date's wrong. It should be May 22nd, not May 8th. So that's one correction that needs to be done before we can pass on that. And then under new business, it says the beaver receiver on Temple Foster goes on to say that Agent Doro presented pictures taken on site. She also forwarded the pictures over to DEP. Duncan Burns said that it's about 50 feet down the road. It's actually 50 feet down the brook. Shouldn't say road. Yeah. And then on the elementary school wetland replication, towards the end, third line up, it says the letter creator, comma, the conservation agent, comma, going to be monitoring responsibility of replication. I don't know what that really means, but I think it's supposed to state something more to the effect that O'Neill's letter stated that the conservation agent will be required to monitor that. So that needs to be corrected as well. And then on the next one down, it says halfway down that next paragraph, Chairman Dumas will be making an informal request to the school. I don't know what that letter is supposed to really be. I don't recall saying that we would send a letter to the school, but we have to talk about that. I'll look back at my notes from last week or last meeting. So we're going to keep continuing. The next one down the second page is Duncan Burns from Stan Street down the hill. There is another tree that needs to be investigated also. I don't know what is that. It doesn't sound right. I don't know what Stan Street is down the hill. Anybody recall what that was? So we'll have to go back and look at the notes. So we're going to table these meeting minutes until the next meeting and get them revised. I'd like to make a motion to continue the meeting minutes to our next meeting.
Motion made. Motion seconded.
All in favor? Aye. When's the next meeting? Technically going to be June 26th, but that's up for discussion.
Correct.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the notice of intent, Rensdale Pond Dam Safety Discussion, only 170 Mill Street. This is continued. So I see that an email came back from the Dam Safety Board and that they haven't had a chance to follow up yet. This is in regards to the dam maintenance that is required and that date has subsequently passed. So we'll continue to work with Mass Safety on that. It's not really a conservation situation at this point. We can monitor it, but it's really up to the state of Massachusetts and Dam Safety on that. So let's continue that to our next meeting. Nothing on the enforcement orders, certificates, nothing. Request for a minute order of conditions, nothing. The next on the agenda is request for certificate of compliance for DEP 160566, which is 314 Brookside Drive, Lot 53. It's also DEP 1600400 and 160393 Wilder Brook Estate. This is a continuance from May 22nd. So if you kind of give us an update on what you had found on that. This is regarding the boundary lines of the wetlands behind these properties.
Yes, so originally, the last meeting, you guys were, you wanted to know about the PVC pipe that was going out into the wetland area on that property. What I did find out from DPW is that it was probably a foundational thing, and there's probably very little, if any, water coming out of that PVC pipe, if seasonally maybe. And then, so the other thing is I've been having trouble actually contacting the original owner, and I actually took a trip down to the assessor's office today and found out that they went ahead and sold the property to a new owner without getting a certificate of compliance. So I will be drafting a letter to the owner that originally requested the certificate of compliance to see if we can A, get those boards removed, B, get the signage put up per the order of conditions. And
The new owner's got to have to sign off that they understand what the boundary limits are and why they're in place and what it means for the wetlands and working around those. So we've been going back and forth on signage and stuff, but, so it's gonna just send a letter out, and if you want to pass something up, we can just approve it and go.
okay, yeah, as soon as I finish that, I will send it for you guys to look at.
Under new business, the elementary school wetlands replication, area permit to discuss the replication plan. Is that clear? How you doing?
Good, yes.
Good.
So if you don't mind, I've got 5 items on my list. Many of them are very short. But I can explain to you currently what's going on. Wayne Anderson from the school building department is also here. You guys probably on the way. So we issued a letter asking for an extension to the order of conditions to Sophie until Friday. So I don't know how you'll take that up if the order of conditions is expired.
Why did it take so long?
Why did it take so long to
get
ask
this,
for the order of conditions?
Well, to be extended.
I think, honestly, we've been pushing fairly hard without being able to understand fully what the schedule is. I think there was some communication,
Between the,
missteps between the design team and that we didn't understand that it wasn't going to get done this spring. And so we should have seen that you're going to need time anyway. I agree, even if it was replanted the wetland replication area, the seeding needs to be reseeded, not the mature wood shells.
It's a disaster out there.
who's responsible to maintain that and make sure we're
But for all that money they've spent,
Yeah, so I can talk about a little of those issues.
Yeah, hold on, so just to clarify the schedule, who owned what, that job is run on Procore, so if you send the schedule from Procore to Sophie, so I can review that schedule. I mean, it's public record, I'm asking for what I want.
Yeah, I don't run Procore,
Yeah.
architect runs Procore, so I'll make that request.
You verify correctly, right, Procore.
That's fine, because she
And the instructions said it will have substantial completion, so, and I can't guarantee.
I don't know if
you can't, hold on, you can't say what, you can't what?
I don't know how up to date their schedule is, since we're past substantial completion.
Well, but the schedule should still be on there, what you're talking about, right? About,
the schedule, when they first started, and it was
Yeah.
updated for some period.
yeah,
But I think some of the breakdown was last fall, they got temporary occupancy. They then sort of worked a little bit, and the site contractors left the site, the general contractor left the site.
yeah,
And so we were off doing other things naturally, and then their information flow hasn't been great. So I realize it needs to be tightened up. We have been discussing with the architect, with Wayne, sort of. Also, we've got to discuss what happens when the school building is declared 100% complete,
yeah.
but it's more than likely not going to be through the oversight of getting the wetlands replication area up to snuff. So there's going to be a little bit of discussion with the building committee about that.
So hold on, so you're saying that the school's gonna get signed off that's done other than the wetlands, the wetland replication?
No, the completion for the contractor has been pushed out.
Till when?
January, past January.
Realistically, January, because we're gonna be into the fall plant season, which
oh, hold
starts.
on, you said realistically. Don't you have a date?
We have a date? No. The stuff we're getting you guys, which is into the fall planting season, which starts August 15th and runs to November 1st.
Yep. So I'd like at least get the latest schedule and then the one from the fall. And then how about retainage? Has that been released to the subcontractor that owns maintaining that?
I gotta give you, if you want retained schedules as well.
Yes, please. And if they've been released, if so, what percentage?
They've asked us, and we have not suggested they release anything.
Well, that's
Fine, because they just asked us.
Well, it helps
Our
us,
opinion on the site.
it helps us help you guys and make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who was supposed to maintain it during this time frame?
The contract.
And did they?
No.
At all?
Well, what do you call maintain? I mean,
Well, I mean, you have a record.
we've had a question with watering, we've had
Yeah.
questions come up, and
Yeah.
it just, once they demobilized also,
Who allowed them to demobilize before they maintained it? I mean, what is that from? I do this for work every day, like you guys do.
I understand that, and I'm like, three steps.
I'm looking at, like, I wanna go in and audit the whole Procore and find out what their dealings were and who leased them on to leave the site without maintaining it.
You know, I'm 3 steps.
I know,
Two
I
steps.
know, both of you, I mean, it's not,
But I'm gonna give you as much information as I can, and I know we're trying to work with Wayne to make sure, you know, the city's protected, the city owns it, the city's gonna have to make sure.
yeah, but there's someone didn't do it, right? And as a taxpayer and conservation board, I wanna know who and why and what's gonna happen.
Well, MSBA requires the city to have an owner's project manager.
Yep.
So I would lay the fault between the OPM and the architect.
I'm just,
Well, the communication part in particular. Because we, you know, I was pushing for the wetlands rectification area to be
I know.
built seasons before it got built.
Yeah.
And we said, don't see, we wanted them to see early May, you can't get anybody.
determination, yeah.
Well, we can't get anybody to push the seeding out, because I think seeding should be from, you know, April 15th to barely June 1st, because we're getting these droughts now, and nobody's getting anything to get established in the spring period. In the fall period, you don't probably want to seed too early if it's still a drought. You know, you probably want to seed September 1st or something.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't water it, like, we do have an O&M manual right for that property, that could follow.
The,
Operation maintenance for this area, we asked for it, I know it was in there, was that followed?
no.
And who is responsible to make sure that that's being followed? Whose name is on that operations manual? And I probably could go get it.
We prepared it, I don't know.
I know
the
you did,
contractor.
you helped us a lot.
I don't know who took ownership of it, I mean, there was a lot of,
Because in there, it's probably quarterly that they need to provide us that they did all the stuff. And
Yes.
it never happened.
and I think the best thing would be, because of, let's see, how do I say this correctly? I think the best thing would be to talk with the owner's project manager and the school, and we're happy to also have a discussion on how to make sure everybody's administratively, not just, you know, administratively from paperwork, but administratively on board about how it's going to finish up. Because there were stuff during the way that, you know, we had no control over, and it got done in a certain way that
Yeah,
it was very unusual to me. Like a landscape contractor planted the trees and the shrubs. They owned them, they had a 1-year warranty on them, so they watered them. They were all living in the wetlands, right? Well, they were as of a month ago when we inspected them. The grasses, they had the site contractor throw the grass seed down, and there was never water. And so, you know, I know people want to go over, there were some minor revisions that were done to the grading.
Yeah, which is typical.
It's typical, and it was based on, in the order conditions, we said we look at the water table elevation. And so we dug 2 test pits in there, and we also had, there was a little bit of a topo break down by closer to the pond that didn't look like the information we originally had was right. So they resurveyed all that, and we adjusted it slightly, and, you know, put it in the same design parameters,
Yeah.
12 inches above the water table. But that was the extent of sort of what the revisions to the, and I have a map, I can show you.
That's all right.
That's the extension of the revisions to the replication area. And then we put together a program last fall that said, hey, rototill, hand, remove all the vegetation that hasn't grown in the wetland replication area itself. There's a slope that comes up from there that, whether that's the right vegetation or it's seed, wild seeds that come up, it is stabilized. So we're having a focus on the wetland replication area itself, but we're calling it mechanical / hand, it's like loosen it up, and it's supposed to pick up all the debris and then go ahead and replant seed. So we asked for it last May, last October, we asked for it this spring, and just because of the contractor's schedule, it's not happening until this
In the spring planting season.
August or September.
Oh, yeah, it's really not, we all, that's what we do, so.
Yeah,
I understand.
They would have had to been on top of it in March, and then no, we did get a drought, so I don't know if they weren't heavily watering, we may have been at it, yeah.
Yeah, well, all right.
2 seasons, so.
So basically, give us all that information, and we'll meet you guys again in a few weeks and take it up from there.
for the O&M manuals, you want the wetlands, infiltration basins, and what bioswales?
Yep, and then Yeah, and we want to make sure who's responsible for this O and M manual, and why wasn't it taken care of, because it's on there, why didn't we get our quarterly reports? And you helped us, but I know.
Well,
reports
were going to, they're all in Procore. and
Yes, they were supposed to
17
be-
reports went to the agent, and I know not many went to Sophie, because she came in after Lindsay and Katie, but,
Yeah,
you know, Lindsay.
so 17,
Yeah, I think it's 17.
Well,
It's in that vicinity. So I can make sure that Sophie has them all in one place, we can make a binder with them and any other revisions,
That'd be
so that
helpful.
it's easy to go ahead and look at them. But yeah, we did inspect.
yeah, I know, I remember
Well,
some.
I say the site, you know, the general contractor, I think the way they buy things wasn't typical for me, like having a site guy throw the seed down and have a landscaper plant the things. But Leroy in general, the site contractor, when they were early on the job doing all the big heavy stuff, paying attention to erosion control, I think they did a good job.
We took some,
I would agree with you. They were up there, so, you know, to me, there's a lot of slopes that need to be seeded. I think that's probably what you've looked at. And the wetland replication area itself, the woody stuff is growing, but the seed is just invasive that came up when the wetland seed itself did.
Okay.
So what started with this conversation was the city engineer was on site, commented about the integration basin number 5, I believe. So that's when I contacted Sophie.
Yeah.
And just to do a site walkthrough to get her up to speed.
I appreciate that.
That's the one with the rock where we had ledge.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. I don't know if that's in your records too, because Lindsay came out and looked at it, we surveyed it. We did an analysis of the volume of the basin, and we confirmed that there's still enough volume. And so then we.
But I know the slopes of that basin were hydro seeded at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
But there's always a big question of who owns watering. It's like the easiest question in the world.
I gotta dare everybody that's on the site, when somebody makes sure that it was done. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is
We're
working.
not, it was always
there's an awful lot of miscommunication.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming you guys.
That was a tough project.
It's like, Jesus, you know, this is like the Keystone Cops out there.
Yeah, well, we're crossing between some lines of conservation. I just want to know, like I said, the schedule, I want a copy of that. I want to know whoever is supposed to maintain that, the replication space, if retainage has been released, if so, how much, and if even a dollar has been released, I want to know why it was released when it wasn't taken care of. And I want to know whoever is responsible in that O&M manual for maintenance, they should come here and talk to us on why they didn't do it. And it might be, honestly, it might be that they didn't own it yet, because it was under the sub, I don't know. That's what I want to know.
isn't that in the order of conditions?
Again, I don't remember exactly.
Well, there's O and M and, I mean, even in the regular construction specification,
There was talking about a 5-year,
but
they're paying before you guys, I think July 27th, 2020, you guys wanted to make, I think it was invasive species for 5 years.
But the O&M manual that you worked with us, it has all that on there. It says if there's an issue, there's a spill, or we can call, there's a 24-hour number supposed to be in there. So I want all that stuff, and we're gonna meet, when's the next meeting after the 26th?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's every second and fourth Monday, so.
I think we want to go 2 meetings so that we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We might want to advise the committee to, you know, this might be.
It'll be July 17th.
Does the committee expire when MSBA expires?
That's not the first meeting.
That's
The one after.
The school building?
right now, is it the 10th?
Yeah, but I mean, let's say January comes and the MSBA says
That'll be
you're
the
done, the
10th.
contractor says you're done. It looks like there's some growth in the replication area. They're not gonna be ready to give an OC, right? And then we're working with the architects right now. So once the architect, they tell the architect they're done,
Yes.
administratively, we would be done. However, we're more than, happy to continue doing some monitoring and doing whatever else, whatever the city would like us to do.
So our next meeting is July 10th. So if you guys can gather all the information up and give it to us by either next Friday or latest the 28th of June, so we have time to review it in advance of our meeting on July 10th.
Okay.
All right, and we'll take it from there.
Could I bring up a couple other issues that we may be able to get some clarification that might be helpful before that meeting.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. On the,
Before you start, nice with line information. Is that something you guys?
oh, I'll have to send an email back and forth with you, because I can do all the reports and all the RFIs. I don't know if I can get all the schedules.
Yes.
Well, the other thing you can do to make it easier is if you want, Sophie can send you my city email address and invite me to Procore and I'll look at it myself.
Okay.
That would-
I don't know if I can give you administrative right.
You don't need administrative rights to get that stuff.
No, we can, we just gave the new building commissioner access to Procore.
Yeah. If there's something I can't get into that I'm trying to find, I'll reach out to you guys because I'm Procore certified and everything, so.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm just saying, it's easier.
I use three during the day and I forget one has.
I know, me too.
Yep.
With D, who is that?
Yeah, Gardner, yeah. Thank you.
So in the.
That's easier, that way I can go find it, if I can't, I'll reach out to you, go, hey, where's
Yes.
this?
Yeah, and Joe McDonald, who's the assistant PM. And from making instructions,
Yeah.
where all information is.
So the multi-use path or the side, extended with sidewalk is on the inner side, it's on one side of sort of what I would call a loop road that goes up and back down. There has been a request to replace, it was supposed to be seeded.
Yeah,
It was left with stony / gravel and the guardrail was put in for the occupancy. And it's left that way. And there's been a request to put 3/4 inch washed stone or some size river stone in there in lieu of grass. We took a look at it, and it's such a small area, it really doesn't affect drainage much at all. And I think you would prefer not to have to weed whack such a narrow. On the opposite side, where there's a bigger shoulder, it is planted at conservation mix, and that's actually one area that is correct. So, you know, Wayne is in favor of changing it to stone.
Yeah.
We're either way on it. We don't think it really impacts, you know, it's not in the.
so do you have a drawing in to show us where it is? And then, so you're asking us to change it, but it's never been done in the first place, but you want us to
So
change
it's
it?
been done, it's typical,
Well-
very detailed at the school.
Yeah, but it's not, it's, the finished surface isn't installed.
Yeah.
I think that's what.
Well, you probably some grass there, but I don't think it ever, some. And they always argue the fact that the grass in the gardens never grows.
Well, the pro said just a maintenance nightmare, and I think that's more the situation we're in.
Yeah, I mean, all we show here is like, it shows that there's a little 2-inch sort of snow.
So what's the, so with 2 inches, so what is that?
2 foot, I mean, 2 foot. Area that's underneath the guardrail, so, you know, we just,
So what does it slope down?
no, it's level, so the road's here, and then there's the little grass belt, which would then be a stone belt that has a guardrail in it, and then there's the sidewalk. So it's between the sidewalk and the road.
It's pathway that goes from,
Right now, it's seated, or it's not seated.
It's not.
Right now, it is not seeded, it's just bare gravel.
So what do you recommend, a crushed rock?
I
The
would
salt's
like,
gonna kill it anyways, when they salt up there.
That's what I was.
I would like a
And then
marginal.
plow that, all the
I
salt.
mean, it sounds like it sounds bad, it's like school.
Right.
Some schools maybe just.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't have-
Given the work location. Okay. What else you got?
The erosion and sediment control, there was, I don't know if it came up at a meeting, I just got an email about it, so I think I'll mention it.
so we discovered that at the Captain Street entrance, out of the erosion control had been removed, or the light had been removed. But the bales and the fabric were up by the top of the, so they could put that back, so they need to put that back.
Who's maintaining it right now? Who owns maintaining it all across the site?
Contract.
And is he on site taking care of it every time?
It hasn't been replenished in over a year.
So it should
The black silk fence is still
be up and maintained.
up and maintained.
So is that,
The straw bales, there's a few areas that it might have.
so if we guys are
Yeah.
after the meeting, I'm gonna drive through there and it's all up and looks good.
No, I wouldn't say it looks good. I
So
would
somebody
say-
can maintain it.
Well, that's my question. I would recommend that it doesn't get replenished everywhere because there are, I would say more than 50% of the site is innocent fact stabilized. And they're not going to be doing vast amounts of soil moving where you have high risk of erosion coming down. And
Why would they do any soil movement right now?
They wouldn't.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying there are some areas where the slopes have been already graded, they've been established, you know, where roads are put in, there's very little, like that front big slope, which is the biggest slope of concern, which probably has 25% establishment, you know, whatever, not enough establishment, they're gonna be reseeding that this fall. And I'm not suggesting we take that one out, but I'm saying that there are other areas that are more established, they still need to be touched up, but there's no soil erosion, there's no earthwork going on.
It's work.
Well, no, there's no bare soil where water's going off it. The slopes that are mostly bare, there's still no real erosion, there's some of that out back near a playground that's unfinished, that stuff all needs to stay in place and needs to be replenished. But I didn't know if we should do a site walk because you might want to take it, we might sometimes, I don't know if it's their responsibility to remove it in 3 years, like once they say they're off the site, who removes the plastic? And I know nobody worries about the straw beds breaking down, but the wood stakes are kind of a pain in the neck. And getting that plastic out by the contractor might be helpful. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Does somebody want to walk it? Do you want us to make a recommendation or walk it?
Why don't you walk it with Sophie, and then she can sit there and go yes, no, and then you and Lindsay can walk or
Or
what.
we'll just mark a drawing and send it to you guys.
Well, I want to walk it and make sure it's,
Yeah, saying this is our recommendation, and then you can,
but I really don't care
They're gonna ride
if they're gonna
I
come
mean-
back, then we shouldn't release the change until that point. So,
I already have a pretty good idea of everything there. I have a
Okay.
pretty extensive walk. So unless things changed,
so do you think the erosion sediment control, all the straw bales should be replaced on the whole?
well, until the order of conditions is,
then that's what we do.
yeah, it needs to be there up until, yeah, it's certified, complete.
I don't disagree. with
Established.
that, But the practicality is I see a lot of jobs that happens, and then the contractor goes away, and then the order of conditions doesn't happen until after their warranty's expired, and they've been paid,
I don't
and then the
know.
plastic sits there, so that's.
I mean, if you want me to read their contract, I will, but I'd like to think it's in the contract that they don't removing it at whatever point that is.
Just to be clear, there will be some, city engineer did suggest adding soil to the infiltration basins. Because there's something, if you didn't have the soil out there, that you should have it either on the main from head.
So the
So
soil
that's
that's
the
in
thickness
there.
of the loam in,
Yes,
Potential
quality
basin.
of loam, according to the contractor, it was unscreened loam from the site. And there was an RFI, he wanted to look the site material used on the infiltration basin, screened or not. And it was.
So who approved the RFI not to screen the soils?
I'd have to let you know.
What RFI number is that? I'll look when I'm in there. Anybody know?
Could be the Oscar Simpsons.
Yeah. Well, I don't see you doing that, I can tell you that.
So the RFI, we got it,
And I'm not sure if that may have not been the question, the question may have been, can we use on-site material? But then they still have to meet, there's a testing requirement for augmenting with organic matter and other stuff.
Well, you don't, but normally what you do is you try to use it on the site.
Right, but
They're
then,
not calling us.
yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's not even that, sometimes the cut and fill, there's so much left over that you try to, yeah.
But even on that front slope, if they got, 1.5 miners out of it, and they're 1.5 stones, as long as the rest of the loam is good quality and they support carbon material, then those stones wouldn't really matter. But the issue that you're bringing up is that, that's one of the reasons why.
the contractor said that Morris has submitted an RFI about screening, not screening. There's a lot of that going on about, there's like 5 different grass speeds, where those grass speeds go, and what have you.
Okay, what else you got?
That's it.
Okay, so we're gonna continue this request. Actually, someone like to make a motion to approve the continuance until July.
I'll make that motion.
No second.
All in favor? All right, so just give me that invite to Procore, look at that RFI, you can send me the RFI number, I'll look at it, but, and then the retainage schedule, the project schedule, I'll get on that. I don't think the retainage, that probably won't be in there, what percentage has been released, because I won't know what stuff is what.
That's easy.
Okay,
That's easy, yeah.
all right, and we'll take it from there.
So you,
Thank you.
The additional parking spaces.
I'm not even gonna talk about that until this is resolved. Why don't you do more work, we haven't finished what we started yet?
It's a scheduling thing for the summertime.
Doesn't change my day, I'm really sorry. I mean, you guys can overrule me on that, but you're basically saying you want to do more work, but you haven't finished what we already have out there.
That portion is not on the agenda to discuss.
It isn't.
But it was brought up in your last meeting.
So should we make an official written request?
Well, I mean, it's not on here, but I mean,
No, to have you guys revise, to amend, to include the other, this additional work.
I kind of think you should keep it separate, but unless you think it's too long of a process. Well, that way you can actually close one and open another, and then that takes longer, right? I'm asking your professional opinion on that.
That's the planning board, right?
Yeah, and that was, between ourselves, we probably, not telling you that. It's all outside of conservation areas.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
No, there's no.
You said,
So, and it's all interior, so there's no like expansion of grass, expansion of anything else. On that main drive going through, we're adding 7 more feet of pavement so they can have a parallel row of parking spaces. And then over on the interior in front of the early elementary, there's some islands that are really big, and they're taking some of the islands out and putting in a few spots.
why were the islands oversized in the first place? Was that some type of water reasoning to make the island so large in the first place?
Which, so the dark period is the additional paving. So this, along this 2-way street,
Yeah.
we're taking the shoulder, which is 2 feet, and we're adding 7 feet, and we're making parallel parking spaces are 8 feet wide, so there'll be a parallel parking spot.
So does that change your stormwater and all that stuff too?
We did a stormwater analysis that shows this basin needed to be reshaped to maintain the volume that it has.
So it does have technically wetlands or.
It's the storm, this trickles down into that.
Right.
We did do a complete report that we sent to them. The problem was that it didn't get sent.
So, I mean, we'd like to at least look at it, I'm sure
Yes.
David would like to.
Yes, so should I send an official note saying,
Yes, please.
we'd like to do this, and whether or not we need to do it, I think just.
Yeah, send it so we have it for the 10th, and yes.
Okay, I think we sent it to you, we should send it. Formally,
And
request
so
that
it's the second and close it up.
I mean, I can't really focus on your schedule.
I'm just trying to.
I understand, but I mean, again, we're having issues with some area that's already there, yet you guys want to keep doing more, and I'm trying to just get what we need to get resolved first.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
About removal of the plastic. Right,
The
so
plastic
so
overpass,
like,
yes, yes.
who's responsible for that now, right now, the way it's stands? Or is it, hasn't been discussed?
Well, it's like,
The site contractor, the site contractor.
Over the years, we have not addressed that, and we've had projects where 10 years down the road, there's a black.
That's the reason why I brought it up,
That's why I
because I see it on a ton of other projects.
Right.
And I see it coming, and there's, 7,000 feet here or something.
Well, yeah.
Extraordinary.
It's a good job.
So, yeah, but it always happens that the contract has a 1-year warranty, they get paid at the end of the warranty, and then if permits linger.
Yeah.
This.
Right.
when are you supposed to be starting that, so?
I think July 10th.
Hold on.
July 10th.
July 10th is in order to get everything done this summer, we needed to commit to the change request. And Royce is remobilizing on July 10th.
You're gonna have to work hard.
When is, so you're saying about, how many gate mandates do you need to get out of this town?
For that's.
All the stuff that you want to revise in the parking? How many?
I'll have to let you know, that's a Royce question.
When does school go back in August or what?
It's after Labor Day this year.
So that's all, so there's no way, there's more than 4 weeks of work there.
Yeah, but they have other work on site, so.
I'm just saying. I mean, if we meet on the 10th and we go ahead and proceed, then we're all done, that's one day.
Okay.
I mean, I'm willing to commit at the end of that meeting, yeah, go ahead and go.
You know, if you guys get everything we've asked, we work quick.
Yeah.
I
I think the problem is that we didn't ask, I mean, I know you did send it.
Yeah.
We did send it, few weeks ago to you, but, you know, we didn't say this needs to be approved, we're formally requesting, so.
So that's it, just that whole side where then, and then.
That, and then these are the little islands that are they were oversized and they're being shrunk down to.
So I guess, but why were they so big in the first place? Was it, it's no, is it reclaim or what is that when the water goes into the grassy areas?
No, the reasons why we recommended that originally the traffic circulation was coming up this way, they were gonna queue up here and queue along this and queue around here and drop off here.
Yeah,
And the buses were gonna come this way.
yeah,
Well, because of the drastic increases of parent drop-off happening, the decision was made, we reanalyzed it, and they're now queuing from the middle school all the way up Catherine Street, or all the way up, whatever we call this extension.
yeah.
And then they're driving this way, the flows turn around, and the buses are dropping off over here. And so we had made these islands extra long because we didn't want somebody waiting for a parking space to be out here trying to figure out what to do because it was going to flow.
So there's nothing to do with recharge or anything in any of that?
Nothing. As a matter of fact, one of them was a big mound. The other one is just flat. So if there's no rain gardens.
I don't recall every little thing this, but that has nothing to do with the square footage or anything of the, replication space.
It really only affects stormwater. I mean, this may be within 100. No, it doesn't hit 100 feet, but
Where's the 100 foot on that side?
it's in the first lane. It's in the first travel lane. The closest spot is in the center of the road right there.
And there's nothing on this side of those islands? Doesn't matter anymore.
100 is it's not.
I don't remember.
It's not on the pavement. It's on the other side of it.
Okay, all right. Okay, you guys have anything else then? No, thank you.
No.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll let her know that we'll get it.
Okay.
I mean, the parking.
Parking, get us all that stuff, we'll be on 10.
I mean, the parking was a good thing. They got funding to add 25 teachers.
You never make enough parking.
It's such a hard balance. We don't want more
You can't afford that, it.
We don't want more pavement, but
Yeah,
we gotta get people in.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me ask you a question. When they first proposed it, you must have had to figure out how many parents would you drop off kids.
It's harder than that.
Now, what I want to know is, we predicted 316, and the first week it was 8 to 9. There's only 1,000 students in the school, and 800 to 900 cars are dropping off the children per se.
Yeah, the parents go from
Oh, I see it, I live
Catherine
there.
Road.
Yeah.
They go all the way up to the end of Catherine Street, Taft Road.
We're seeing this everywhere, and some of it too is having school guards extending the drop-off period so that the teachers either are doing it or aren't doing it. Sometimes there are teacher contracts that limit the time they can work before school, so, you know, that's, some of those
Teachers, you gotta watch
some
them.
of those. No, they're all,
Right here.
they all need to be paid more, that's all I need.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, next on the agenda, professional development and ACC updated handbook, $15. So what are the updates in that book? Why do we need a book and we get the electronic version?
That is, you have to pay for it. They won't let you just view it.
So is it a link and we all get to use it, or is everybody get their own link, or is we buy two and share?
I'm not, I think anybody would be able to access it. I don't know.
To appropriate $45 for the updated handbook, and if you want to spend 50 minutes, it'll be it. Good?
Yeah.
Someone like to make that motion to approve $45.
I'll make it. I'll accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
There's still a quite a, a good amount in the professional development
Yeah, that's fine.
account
That's fine.
that needs to be, utilized.
Yep. So our upcoming meetings, both Sophie and I are away on the 26th, so we won't have our next meeting until July 10th. And under new business, the baseball board approached me about installing a scoreboard finally at the new baseball field. So that's something we need to discuss maybe in the July 10th meeting. But they did give you the details. They wanted more on the right side of the outfield, kind of over towards this to the right of the flag. Yes, the Little League entry field. So I'd offered to go and help them lay that out because we know it's very tight back there. But the electricity and everything's on this side. So if not, they're taking them right across the field. So the other thing is we still have funds in there to spend for that field. Not a lot. So I was gonna say.
What are they gonna run across? You need to look up for the electrical?
Yeah.
Why are they going over on the, why are they going on the left?
Electrical's on the street side, that's right.
Right, but why do they want to go on that side?
That's what they wanted on this side.
On the scoreboard?
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, that's what they want to go by the flag?
To the right of it, yeah.
Oh, on the right field side?
Yes.
Well, that's not that far to go.
No, it's not, that's what I wanted, they're trying to figure it out. So I told them that I'd go over with them and help them lay it out. Because I think it's always disturbed, so it's a little different. But we have that brook there. Sylvie sent me some drawings. And it's definitely, the drawings are a little off compared to what's there. So what I was gonna say was I go out there and spray a couple spots and somebody can take a look at it at some point. But my thought was we have to, I think there's like $2,500 left, or 2,600 bucks. I was gonna say we should help, potentially, that's what I'm gonna propose, is help with the install of that scoreboard and protection while they're doing the
Back up a minute. A couple of months ago, we talked about giving them the money. And then, so they can irrigate the field.
They did it already. The problem is where they have to install it is down towards Route 2. And they have to come across the whole parking lot to tap it over by the snack shack. There's not even a chance that our 2,600 bucks is gonna cover that.
Well, it would help, I mean.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, at some point,
Well, it's nice to
That's
have,
just where the- that's just
it's
where the-
nice to have a scoreboard, but if you got a lousy field, I would really, I take the.
I mean, I don't even know if
The
they
better,
get a cost.
you guys take the better field than the scoreboard?
Right now, I would say the scoreboard.
Okay.
That scoreboard's been in their possession for at least 5 or 6 years.
We've
Oh,
had,
you already got it?
Yeah, had it for years.
Oh, okay, oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to the games a lot.
I know you do, that's why I'm looking at you the whole
And it's
time.
ridiculous every time I want to know the score. Well, look at the scoreboard.
So I'll lay it out, Norman, and I'll let you know, that way you can take a look next time you're over there.
Yeah.
So, you gonna work with Dane? Is Dane gonna get involved with this?
That's nothing to do with me.
Oh,
So then we'll see if we can cover the funds that put it in. Or I just don't think 2,600 bucks is enough to come across that whole parking lot or that fire hydrant and come across the whole lot to where that irrigation taps and what probably got snapshot. They can't find him to do it. So.
Well, does the golf course have a ditch witch?
What?
Ditch, trench digger?
No, we had to get some in when we put in the irrigation, like turf.
I don't know if they might have had one, because it's probably.
I mean, you could probably rent a Taylor rental, but that's gonna have to be that bigger auger
Well,
because,
you know, the Taylor rental, well, we part of the school system.
that's gonna be heavy, because that's compacted where all those cars are. So ditch witch is probably gonna be a little bit of a battle.
Yeah.
It's almost like they need a mini with this little narrow bucket to do it.
Yeah, they have those. I know the golf course has one.
Yeah. So I'll let you guys know on that.
Yeah.
And that's it for new business for me. How are you?
good. Who was this gentleman here?
Wendy McKay, myself, have been to this meeting before. Took out nomination papers for mayor.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
So we got 2 years and 1 month.
Thank you. The only thing, actually, now you say that is, Michael, is, retiring from the commission July 1st.
Yeah.
So we're really getting tight here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, any other new business for you?
No. Oh, yeah. Sophie, I know you're involved in the project up at, on the top of Leon Drive. I have a thing about the city. they built something, they never maintained it. Now, that's brand new. The building, we built it right now, on the day before I came to the meeting, here's the rubbish barrel, all overflowing, all over the ground.
Where is this?
At the brand new,
On that new field?
yeah,
Yes, construction just finished, so the majority of that is from the construction
I know,
workers.
here we go.
Well, construction workers should take the trash away. I mean, that's, again, that's
Yeah.
probably.
They do that every Friday. I don't know why they can't do it over there.
Well, I don't know, it's not that. It was overflowing, last Thursday. I think it's now given them a few days and,
Okay, what else you got?
the,
You wanted a brief recap
Yeah,
still
for the
of
meeting.
the conference?
Yep.
Yeah, overall, I made some really great connections and gave me some hope that there's, people that I can actually reach out to that are nearby. There's one person in Air, there's another person in Hadley, one lady in Harvard, but she lives in Leominster. So I started reaching out to them actually today on some questions, so that I don't have to keep, bugging the same people over and over again. And these people have a whole bunch of different experiences. I really did like the fact that the whole conference was very informal, in a way that we had the breakout groups, but we were able to kind of just bounce ideas off each other and or issues that we were having. And for new agents like myself, it was nice to hear what they could come up with for solutions, or even just to have a listening ear. I don't know, especially one of the breakout groups was the Conservation Confidential, which was run by Rebecca in Bolton. And for the majority of that, it was a lot of just, voicing our concerns, and we're faced with this right now. How do we proceed? And then there were other parts that were concerns of being, I kind of like, actually, yes, a minority in the field, being a female, and the many challenges that it may play. So we, had that discussion and talked about how I was struggling with grant writing and planning management on top of the conservation role as well. But overall, it was a really, really awesome day.
So what percentage of grant writing do you feel you're doing as opposed to conservation?
Well, it's not just the writing portion, it's everything. I came into a couple of projects and I have little experience with the grant portion of it. So currently it has been taking a lot of my time, probably, I want to say 70%, 80% of my time.
Is for land planning? and planning?
Yeah, planning. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's one of the things we discussed, but
All right, I'll definitely try to do. That's definitely a little bit more sway than what it's supposed to be.
yeah.
I don't think you
And
realize-
and it goes up, obviously, as like the projects move along,
Yeah,
especially like last week with project like wrapping up,
yeah,
and it's still wrapping up, but yeah.
okay.
But
Great,
overall, it was awesome.
good, very good. All right, anybody have anything else? No. Anybody in the audience have anything? No? All right. Someone like to make a motion in tonight's meeting?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.